recession in June of 2009. Now even mainstream media says, okay, we never left the recession. We may be going into a depression. I want to go through some of the economic data and the things that are happening on the world political scale with you. I want to get into Herman von Rompuy's disgusting, that's the EU head, folks, statement yesterday that nation states are dead. That's the goal of all of this. Straight ahead with Bob Chapman. I'm Alex Jones. This is the GCN Radio Network, GCNlive.com. Hundreds of nations have fallen to tyranny in the last century alone. This is our last chance to not relive history.
As we're finishing off this agenda, they'll be pulling the rug from underneath Americans at home.
They have tremendous influence on our president and Congress, and they really are calling the shots.
I think it's incumbent upon all of us as American citizens to pay attention.
Fall of the Republic identifies the enemies of our nation, the criminal offshore cartel, hell-bent on destroying sovereignty, and on its ashes constructing world government.
Tim Geithner, Bernanke, they're arsonists. They're asking for more matches. And the Congress is saying, who do we make the check out to?
Today seems like nobody does care. And right now in Washington, D.C., we have seen a fall of the Republic.
Get your copy of Fall of the Republic on DVD at Infowars.com or watch it online right now in super high quality at prisonplanet.tv. This is Alex Jones with 5 good reasons you should consider buying a solar power generator. Number 1, new climate legislation could easily double or triple your electric bill. Number 2, our new energy czar wants to control how much power your electric company allows you to have. It's true. Total government control of electricity in the name of smart grid technology is coming. Number 3, in some areas of the country, the power grid is dangerously overloaded. And now new socialist legislation is only compounding the problem. Number 4, dangerous weather is always a threat to local grids. Every year, thousands of families lose their power from weather-related outages. Number 5, a solar power generator provides powerful backup insurance and peace of mind. Folks, I really believe in the solar power generators offered by Solutions from Science, one of my oldest sponsors. You can get more information at www.mysolarbackup.com. That's mysolarbackup.com. Remember, the government doesn't own the sun, so go to mysolarbackup.com or call 1-877-327-0365. Hi, folks. This is Alex Jones asking you for a minute of your time to tell you about soap. Not detergents, but good old-fashioned pure soap made by the Cal Ben Soap Company, a family-owned and operated American company. My family, staff, friends, and radio listeners are constantly telling me how much they love these products for bath, hair, laundry, and dishes. There is nothing like these factory-direct, big money-saving, triple-concentrated soaps anywhere. Get a free detailed catalog by calling 800-340-7091 or see them online at 5starsoap.com or Infowars.com. Let's talk to the owner of 5 Star Soap, Marty Schachter, and see what he has to say.
As founder and owner for over 63 years, people keep asking me, how's business? I'm happy to say our business is going down the drain. Call us at 1-800-340-7091. Visit our website, 5starsoap.com, for buying our 1 to 2 month soap sampler. Thank you.
He's the T-Rex of political talk. Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network.
Well, here's the Boston Herald. Obama's economic view is rejected on the world stage. Meanwhile, Obama claims strengthened hand in global dealings. That's AP. He says everything's wonderful. Continuing, G20 refuses to back U.S. push on China currency. The leaders of the 20 major economies on Friday refused to back a U.S. push to make China boost its currency value. See, they get to lower theirs and unfairly ship all our jobs there because it's cheaper to manufacture. So what's happening is all these other countries, as Bob Chapman just said, want us to continue to slit our throats for what Herman von Rompuy calls his global government. He says nation states are dead and that we must basically sacrifice everything on the altar of globalism. He said the EU chief says the belief that countries can stand alone is a lie and an illusion, so they get us held captive to their fiat money system and then always say, give us more power and we'll make the depression stop. And then you give them more power and things only get worse. Bloomberg, Sarkozy takes over G20 aiming to update monetary system. They want to move towards this global SDR that we all pay taxes to. That's making the swindling bankers world rulers openly. We'll get Bob Chapman's take on that. IMF shadow looms as Irish take pay cuts to avoid bailout. Their cost of borrowing going way up. It just goes on and on and on. And here in the U.S., they're slashing all the main services. England's dimming their lights. Pay to protect. Sheriff cutting services to city over late payment. All over, they're slashing police sheriffs, but the taxes go up and up. More and more of the money going to debt service. That's the mark of a third world nation. The peso rises against the dollar. This is amazing. Let's go to Bob Chapman on this front. What do you see coming out of this? Are they going to get their SDR? And if not, then how do you see this playing out?
They're not going to get an SDR because I think that they're going to have to back something that they create, whether it's a rebirth of the dollar or an index or a bank core, which most people haven't heard of, but something that was dreamed up by Mr. Keynes back in the 30s. The SDR cannot be backed by gold. It's part of the IMF arrangement, although that could change. And, the easiest way out for these people, but they'll have to give up their current push for world government, is have a big meeting, all the countries are there, devalue, revalue, default. And then they can decide whether they're going to have an indexed, and Zollner said the other day, he's a Bilderberger Trilat CFR person, and very, very important, mind you, although most of you haven't heard of him. He said that we should consider an international unit of some kind with gold backing, and then he retracted it a couple of days later, but the trial balloon went up, and that's what that was.
Well, so did Zolik. So did Zolik, the head of the World Bank, which is the U.S. arm, also was talking about this 3 days ago and then retracted.
That's the gentleman I was talking about.
Okay, I guess you pronounced it a bit different than I would.
I might have given him the wrong name.
No, it's okay. There's so many of these creatures. But when you talk about the band corps, the IMF 3 months ago put out a paper and said we want a band corps. So they're actually proposing it.
That's right. But they've got to back up with gold. Now, we don't know whether the United States has any gold or not. There is gold in Fort Knox and under the Fed building in New York and at West Point. And I know we have subscribers who are in the military, who are now retired, who counted it. So we know something's there, but we don't know who it belongs to. But if the U.S. has their gold or a good part of it left and squandered everybody else's, then all they have to do is back the dollar with gold. Now, before they do that, they must devalue and default along with others. And the reason why is if they just revert and say, okay, tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock, we're going to go back to a gold standard. And what would happen is the Chinese would say, hey, that's terrific. Here's $1 trillion. We want $1 trillion worth of gold. So that's not going to work very well unless they devalue and default along with the others first. So the easy way out is to have the meeting. They can try to do a bank corps, and it could conceivably work for them, but it's got to be gold-backed.
And that's why more and more they're floating that. I want to shift gears now and play a video clip because I talked about this yesterday, but the magnitude of this is so huge. We had warned Glenn Beck on air, and we know he listens as people listen every day. About half his show is exactly what's covered here, and then he puts a neocon spin on it, but less and less. Again, I don't trust him, but he's going in the right direction, like Wayne Madsen said. Hey, the water's warm, come on in. But the bigger question is, why would Fox News allow him to do this? Well, I'll tell you one big reason, and I'm going to get into what he's done here in a moment. George Soros, in the last 6 or 7 years, has spent hundreds of millions of dollars lobbying and running campaigns to shut down Fox and News Corp's advertisers. They've cost him tens of millions just in the last 2 years, year and a half that he's been at Fox. They've taken hundreds of sponsors. And so Rupert Murdoch's a high-level globalist, but not in the capstone. He's angry at that. And it really is Soros that started it. And Soros isn't, horrible creature. You've talked years ago about him helping sell out Jews in World War II. Beck talked about that 2 days ago. That's really got Soros publications like Media Matters really mad right now. But they're not just attacking Beck in these articles. It's always Beck and then Alex Jones, you know, his evil media junior. And they're saying we're going to cause an Oklahoma City or we're going to be behind it. And we put the warning out in June. In July, Obama faces growing credibility crisis, where Robert Shapiro, advising Obama, said without an Oklahoma City or 9/11, you're not going to be able to pose as our savior. The bottom line here is that Americans don't believe in President Obama's leadership. Quote, he has to find some way between now and November of demonstrating that he's a leader who can command confidence in short of a new 9/11 event or an Oklahoma City bombing. I can't think of how I could do that. Now, ex-Clinton strategist, Obama needs events similar to OKC to reconnect with voters. That's another Obama and Clinton advisor, Mark Penn, said that on national TV. So we wrote the article last Sunday, Clinton Night Obama needs OKC bombing to reconnect with American people. Beck, because we put it in the articles, I showed where all these Soros publications are saying that Beck and it's not just Beck. He says, oh, they're going to blame me. No, it's Alex too. I'm in the crosshairs, folks. That's why I talk about this. To stage a new Oklahoma City. Now, Beck came out and said that George Soros, I won't even go this far because he's a mid-level minion, you know, the shadowy corporate interest, and the Mayak report, they are gearing up to go after the Patriot movement. And we've been saying that for actually 2 years now, but we've been intensifying our warning. But Beck came out, and we're going to skip the break here, the network break coming up in a moment, because I want to give Bob plenty of time as we're cutting him short today. And I apologize for that, but don't worry, he'll get 2 hours next week if he wants it. Sometimes he can't do it. How big a deal is it to have Glenn Beck come out and say twice in the same video clip, they're going to blame me. They're getting ready to stage a new Oklahoma City. I mean, this is bold. And for him to be green-lighted, this shows a fight within the globalist, I believe. Because we know Fox News is globalist. But how big of a deal is it to have Beck admit false flag terror in America to be blamed on the American people? This is huge, Bob.
It's giant. There's no question about it. And, you know, he's going down the avenue that we discussed over and over again over the last year or so. And he's really stealing what you're doing. But, you know, if it's in the right direction, as Madsen said, the water's warm, come on in. They are challenging them. There is a breakup, probably temporary, between these people. And they've gone on the attack on Fox. There's absolutely no doubt about it. And I don't know if you noticed, you probably did, that the ADL is now after Glenn Beck because he's a racist because of what he had to say about Mr. Soros.
Yeah, so they're pulling out the big guns now. I mean, they're desperate.
That's right. And they're hurting. The truth kills. I mean, it's awful. And that's why we're here, to tell the truth. And Soros's background, what Beck should do is what we have done, is point out that the man has been convicted twice of breaking the law. And
yeah, Beck never does that I've seen. This guy's a convict.
Yes, that's true. And he even lost an appeal in France. And now he's gone to one of these international organizations whose name I can't remember, to tell them that you have to exonerate me because of some obscure reason. But he was, after that, he was convicted in Hungary as well as doing the same thing, rigging the stock market, in essence.
And Beck is telling the truth to a certain degree when he says,